Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Sabalenka holds firm against Pegula to return to the US Open final. Once again, Aryna Sabalenka has played her way into the US Open final. On Thursday night, she fought back from a set down, beating Jessica Pegula 4-6, 6-3, 6-4 with the kind of grit and serving power that has come to define her run at the top. It will be Sabalenka's 7th Grand Slam final, her 4th in the past 5 majors and her 3rd in a row in New York, leaving her one win from successfully defending her US Open title. She'll face Amanda Anisimova for the trophy on Saturday. In this match, I was actually just trying to take one step at a time, Sabalenka said afterward. I was like, it's okay if you didn't close it from the first match point. You're playing great tennis. Just go try and be better. The roof was closed over Arthur Ashe Stadium as the rain arrived, creating still conditions that suited both players. Pegula took full advantage early, playing a sharp, measured opening set that kept Sabalenka off balance. She limited herself to only 3 unforced errors, stayed aggressive on return, and drew the crowd into every rally. Sabalenka steadied in the second. Her game grew sharper, while Pegula's level dipped, producing 9 errors in that set alone. By the end, the power numbers told the story. Sabalenka finished with 43 winners to Pegula's 21. Sabalenka also hit 8 aces. The deciding set delivered the night's biggest drama. Pegula carved out 4 breakpoints but couldn't convert, as Sabalenka's serve again held firm. That reliance on her serve would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. After reworking her motion in 2022, Sabalenka's delivery has become the backbone of her game, and it was the weapon that ultimately separated the two on Thursday night. Pegula gave credit to the level on both sides, admitting she couldn't find the breakthrough late. "Yeah, I thought it was really high level," she said. "I don't really know what else to say. I don't know how I didn't break back in the third. I thought I played some really good points to win the first." She upped her level, started serving a lot better in the second. "Then I felt like it was really even in the third. Like, there wasn't that much difference. I felt like we were both serving pretty well." Trivia. She added that, despite the loss, she felt her approach was sharper than in previous meetings. "I think strategically I played her much better than I have played her the last few times," Pegula said. "I feel like going into the next match, I kind of know what I need to do. Obviously executing it is a different story. I think there were some things, very small things, I could have done different at the end. But it's like, I'm nitpicking things. If she's going to come out and I was hitting some good returns and she's going to blast first ball winners, literally some of them on the line, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that." For Sabalenka, the takeaway was another chance at the biggest prize. "I'm super excited to give myself another opportunity, another final," Sabalenka said. "If I'll be able to hold that trophy, it's going to mean a lot for me. I'll be just the happiest person on earth probably." Sabalenka holds firm against Pegula to return to the US Open final. The night was heavy with expectation in New York. A warm breeze cut through Arthur Ashe Stadium, carrying with it the hum of 23,000 restless voices. The 2025 US Open had already delivered its share of storylines: Naomi Osaka's comeback, Coco Gauff's electric runs, Iga Swiatek's relentless chase for another title. But on this particular evening, the focus narrowed to 2 women whose journeys couldn't have been more different. Aryna Sabalenka, the raw power and unyielding force from Belarus, and Jessica Pegula, the steady hand, the American favorite who had spent years carving out her identity in the shadow of bigger names. This semifinal was more than just a tennis match. It was a clash of philosophies. Sabalenka, the embodiment of aggression and momentum, believed in taking time away from opponents, in painting lines with winners before doubt could seep in. Pegula, on the other hand, thrived on control, patience, and precision. She was the surgeon, Sabalenka, the hurricane. And yet, as the final ball was struck and the stadium erupted, it was the hurricane that swept through to the final again. Aryna Sabalenka had held firm, not just against Pegula's measured tennis, but against the pressure of the moment, the weight of her own past heartbreaks, and the stubborn resilience of the American crowd. The build-up Two journeys to the semifinal. To understand the depth of this contest, one must first trace the arcs that brought them here. Sabalenka entered the U.S. Open with the burden of expectation heavy on her shoulders. As a world #1 contender and reigning Australian Open champion, she had already tasted Grand Slam glory. Yet New York had often felt elusive. Glorious runs cut short by nerves, by double faults at the worst times, by the sheer unpredictability of the city. She wanted redemption. She wanted to prove that her power could be harnessed, her volatility tempered. Pegula's journey was quieter, but no less compelling. For years, she had been labeled consistent, perhaps too consistent, solid, reliable, but lacking the knockout punch to reach the very top. But in 2025, something had shifted. Her backhand was firmer, her returns sharper, and most importantly, her belief deeper. Playing in front of her home crowd, she felt the rhythm of the city in her bones. For Pegula, the semifinal was not just about reaching new territory. It was about legitimizing her place among the elite. Act 1, the opening exchanges. The match began with the intensity of two players who knew the stakes. Sabalenka, true to form, opened with a blistering ace out wide, the kind of statement shot that set the tone. The sound of the ball leaving her racket reverberated like thunder, and Pegula simply nodded, resetting herself. But Pegula wasn't intimidated. She absorbed Sabalenka's early blows, redirecting pace, extending rallies, asking the questions that champions must answer. By the third game, Pegula had her opening. Two mistimed forehands from Sabalenka, and suddenly the American had break points. The crowd roared, sensing an upset in the making. Sabalenka, however, has never been one to bow to pressure. She fired a 117 miles per hour serve directly into Pegula's body, followed by a forehand winner, so clean it silenced the cheers for a moment. She held, thumped her chest, and screamed to her box, "Let's go!" It was a reminder. Sabalenka doesn't just play tennis, she wages battle. Act 2. Pegula's patience meets Sabalenka's firepower. What unfolded over the next hour was a fascinating tug-of-war. Pegula continued to probe, drawing Sabalenka into longer rallies, trying to force errors from the Belarusian's streaky forehand. The tactic worked at times. Sabalenka's unforced errors climbed into double digits, and Pegula broke serve midway through the first set to lead 4-2. Arthur Ashe roared with delight. The American dream was alive. But champions have a way of bending reality to their will. Sabalenka raised her level in a heartbeat. Her serves became heavier, her ground strokes more ruthless. At 4-2, she broke back with a sequence of winners that painted the lines like brushstrokes on a canvas. The momentum shifted, almost violently, and Pegula suddenly found herself on the back foot. At 5-5, the set turned into a pressure cooker. Pegula, serving to stay in it, faced a breakpoint after Sabalenka unleashed a 20-shot rally capped by a backhand down the line. The crowd held its breath. Pegula saved it with courage, striking her own backhand with laser precision. But on the very next point, Sabalenka ripped a return winner that left no doubt. She broke, then served out the set 7-5 with an ace down the tee. The hurricane had arrived. Act 3, the American resistance. If anyone thought Pegula would crumble, they underestimated her steel. The second set saw the American dig deeper than ever before. She adjusted her positioning, stepping further inside the baseline to cut off Sabalenka's angles. She varied the pace, mixing in slices and looping balls to disrupt the Belarusian's rhythm. It worked. Pegula earned another early break, and this time she consolidated it. The crowd roared with renewed belief, sensing that perhaps this time the hometown hero could tame the storm. At 4-2, Pegula had the swagger of someone who had found answers. But Sabalenka, as she so often does, found another gear. She dialed up her aggression, blasting winners from impossible positions. Her roar after each point seemed to shake the very foundations of the stadium. Pegula tried to stand firm, but the barrage was relentless. At 4-4, the set hung by a thread. Sabalenka, sensing blood, pounced. Two thunderous returns later, she had to break. Serving for the match at 5-4, she delivered 3 unreturnable serves and a forehand winner to seal the victory. Final score, 7-5, 6-4. The aftermath, a return to the final. As the last ball flew wide from Pegula's racket, Sabalenka dropped her racket and let out a primal scream. She had done it. Returned to the U.S. Open final, exorcising the ghosts of past failures. Her team erupted, her fans roared, and yet there was a sense of calm in her celebration. This wasn't just about power anymore. This was about resilience, composure, and belief. Pegula walked to the net with dignity, her face a mixture of disappointment and pride. She had pushed Sabalenka, tested her limits, and played some of her best tennis. The crowd gave her a standing ovation, recognizing her fight. She wasn't just an also-ran anymore. She had proven herself against the very best. What this means for Sabalenka. Sabalenka's victory was more than a semifinal win. It was a statement to the tennis world. For years, critics had questioned her ability to handle pressure, to close out big matches without unraveling. Tonight, she answered those doubts. Her serve, once a liability, held firm under the brightest lights. Her forehand, often erratic, found its range when it mattered most. And most importantly, her mind stayed locked in. She didn't just overpower Pegula, she outlasted her, mentally and emotionally. As she heads into the final, Sabalenka carries not just momentum but a newfound maturity. She is no longer the volatile talent who could collapse under pressure. She is a champion in every sense of the word. What this means for Pegula. For Pegula, the loss will sting, but it will also serve as fuel. She proved she could stand toe-to-toe with one of the game's fiercest L.